Now, the new art project that I like to talk about is the start from 2007. It's called Primitive. That Uncle Bunmi, who can recall his past life, the feature film, is part of this project. It's a project that I started from a little book that I got from a monk near my home, and this is the book. And on the cover, it's very thin one. It's just been distributed locally, not in the bookstore. And on the cover, it says a man who recalls his past life. And on the cover also said he's a hunter, he's a wandering ghost, and he's a buffalo. It's a wandering ghost again. He's a cow, and then he's Mr. Bunmi. Yeah. So I got this book a long time ago, and it was really hard for me to adapt into the movie. I was fascinated by the idea of someone who could remember so far away in time, because my work always deal with memory, but this guy is someone else's memory. My struggle was that in the film, in the book, sometimes he said he's a cow, he's a buffalo, and then when he died, he found himself up on a tree. And so for me, and then he looked down from the tree and saw the owner, his owner, making a funeral for the dead buffalo. And for me, what was on the tree? Is that a cow? Is a buffalo on the tree, or is a man or some kind of spirit? So it was very, and I think when I read that, it's really open a lot of imagination. But when you put the image onto it, maybe we can use the computer graphic, but it kills the imagination of the people who read this book, that it can be anything on the tree, for example. So I put this book away for a long time, and then in 2007 I start to have this art project coming up again. So I proposed this about the looking at the northeast area where I grew up, and to look at the landscape. And I pick up the book again because Bunmi was always reborn in this land. It's the land that I think is not easy to grow up with, because it's dry and there's a lot of political manipulation. So Bunmi is part of this trip, that we take a journey on. And so for me, when I start on this project, I have drafting at the same time the script for Uncle Bunmi, and also have some references of making a movie that reflect the media that I grew up with. All these comic books and all this other illustration that has a kind of old-fashioned style, and it shows the coexistence between the human and the dead, and the spirit. So the wife, the ghost wife, also, like this story, she appeared to her husband at night, and they just lived together afterward. She cooked for him, and she made bed for him, and sometimes they even make love. So the idea of a dead and living, sometimes there's no line, there's no borderline in this old novel. And also, let me see if I get the wrong right one. Sorry. And also the idea of the lights that I will explain to you later. The light that populated the landscape of the Northeast. Sometimes when there's a military flare that go up to find people who hiding in the jungle, and so with this light, military flare, I imagine the idea of beauty. Of course, it's beautiful with green and red light in the night sky, but at the same time, it's dangerous. So I like this two double meaning of beauty and danger in one image. So I think I got this wrong somehow. This is part of the sketch that I did already when I was in the village. But anyway, I started from traveling to the Northeast. It started actually with my father's funeral, kind of anniversary of my father's day, and started my hometown. And I drive with my crew members to the Northeast. And this is how I work for many films also. This is an artwork, but it is not different. That I travel with my crew members, my actor, and then we share the experience of pre-production together. So I start with going to houses, and the first house we went to is to the woman, this in red T-shirt, that she claimed to remember her past life. And so we did a lot of interview and to find about her family tree, and to see, but she has no reason to lie to us, but the story tells us a lot about the people who can remember past life, that when she was young, she has an urge to go back to her previous home. She was a boy who fell down from the tree. And I know this story also before. I put it in Syndrome and a Century. He fell down from the tree, and then he was born as this girl. And when she grew up, to a certain age that she can communicate, she told her parents that she wanted to go to this place, and her parents thought she was a little crazy. But after she grew up for a while, they have one trip together when the father bought a pickup truck, and she persuaded them somehow to go to this village. And when she get off the car, she ran to the house of the boy, the dead boy, and she ran and she went to her mother, and she asked like, "Mom, I'm back." And then the mom, the previous mom, also confused, and who are you? And then again, like in the Tibetan stories, they start to test her by pick her favorite objects, and it's even better because she could remember name of her friends, and name of her of places. And sometimes they ask her, "Show me the toilet, the way to the toilet." So she just walked by herself to here's the toilet. So then everyone cried that, "Oh, my son is back," and then she went to her former life grave, which is the boy grave, and then she cried because she witnessed her death, and then the thing is this woman in the picture, her real mother felt jealous because she said, "This is my daughter, it's not yours." And so there's a kind of fight between these two mothers. And so for me the story is very interesting of how we forget, why we forget, because I think if we remember, we will, there's a problem because we will have to go back to meet our past family, our past enemy, to get revenge or whatever. So maybe that's a natural thing that we forget. So So for this girl, when she grew up, the mother doesn't allow her to visit that house again, but she always escaped to give the money to the old mother because that mother was poor. So and it can be a good movie. So we travel further. Actually, I had no aim. I just want to talk to people who claim to remember their past life and to record what happened in the landscape, because it changed so quickly in Thailand. When you went to Paris or London, 5 years, they look similar, they look the same, but in Thailand many places changed. The architecture and the number of people changed because many people escaped to work in different land. And also the day they treat the dead is very interesting, that how they build a little house, that on the temple wall, to have to signify the belief that okay, you have a house now, you're not wandering. Yeah. And also the temple, I record architecture as well. And during that time, there's a massive flooding over the area in the northeast. So but the area has been ignored by the government, because during that time the political situation become more intense, and the news from the northeast doesn't mean much, even though it's a big deal for people there. So we went there, and also this house claimed that there's someone who remembered their past life, and so I didn't know what I want to show in the installation. Actually, in the artwork, I just want to record an experience. So this is one of the interesting things that they, about the human try to control nature and how it's and actually is the place that also had been talked about in one of the short film called Emerald, about the Genjira, my actress, who remember when she was young, she went with her lover to under this animal to to be romantic. And then we went to the kind of some place like this. It's like a Buddhist Disneyland. It's a place that is very unique in Thailand because it doesn't belong to any sect, and that is full of this sculpture that is has influence from many places, from China, from India, and from Cambodia, and the guru of the place, the owner, the monk, established himself as a guru, and that he's the one who doesn't feel fit in his home, and so he escaped to Laos, which is close to this area, neighboring country actually, and he came back claiming to be enlightened and built this sculpture.